Good afternoon. Right, we'll start with James at Sky Sports News.
Hi, how's Tammy Abraham?
Yeah, okay. We're giving him every possible chance to be fit. Still got some pain in the area of the injury, so we'll make a judgment call tomorrow.
How confident are you?
I'll make a judgment tomorrow. I mean, it's one of those. It's painful for him, so it's a bit of pain threshold. What does it affect his movements, etc. So yeah, as I say, I wouldn't want to commit to that.
Because of how important he is, do you give him as much time as you can to prove himself for this game?
Yeah, I think he was in good form, and for players that are important, as every player should be, you would try and give as much time. You obviously need them to be keen, and he's always keen, so he's trying his best. We're trying the best to give him time. If he's not, then we have to go in a different route anyway.
And just in terms of other injuries, Ross Barkley, update?
Yeah, Ross has actually been sick. He was ill Sunday night, so he's in this morning, but not recovered enough to be in for the game.
And Rudiger, you close?
Rudiger's close, yeah, he's really stepped up his training, particularly in the last week. So we're hoping he'll be available within the next week to 10 days.
And anyone else due to come back?
No, that's it.
Just in terms of Abraham, did you find out on the weekend just how much you missed him, how important he is to this team?
I don't think you can isolate it to one game, but we know, as I say, it's clear when he's where he is in the goal scoring charts and what his input has been generally for us this year. We shouldn't understate that, but at the same time, one player cannot be a reason for losing a game or having a below par performance. So I don't think the overall picture was that clear, but what's clear is he's obviously an important player for us.
And if he isn't fit, what are your other options you're considering? Could Pulisic play a different role?
I'll have to consider that. So, I think you saw that at the weekend, and you've seen it in recent games. We have competition in that area, so that's my choice to make.
It's the first time you've suffered back-to-back league defeats as Chelsea manager. Has that changed anything you've done this week, and how much does that put an added importance on this game?
I think it's part of football. If anyone thought this year was going to be a breeze and we were going to go 6, 7, 8 on the bounce and keep doing it forever, I think that would have been misguided, particularly when you have to go and play games like City, Man City away, tough match. You can always lose there, then you travel to Valencia and then you have a home game a few days later. I think the circumstances are there, but what we need to do now is focus on our reaction and make sure that it's a general reaction as a team. I think there were basics that we didn't do on Saturday, which we've been doing a lot, which have been the big reasons why we've been doing so well, and we lost a little bit of that in one game. So it's important in terms of how we prepare for Villa is that we recognise those basics and get them straight back.
And with Tottenham rallying under Mourinho, does that make this game even more important?
I don't think that's got anything to do with this game individually. I think the competition for the top 4 is always going to be great this season, and Tottenham would have been people's favourites to be in the title race at the start of the season, let alone top 4. So we understand the competition of many teams in and around us. Some teams that have been slightly unfancied are there as well. So we have to respect everybody and but mainly worry about ourselves.
And John Terry will be in the opposition dugout for the first time. How does that make you feel coming up against him at Stamford Bridge?
Well, not much different to me. I went up against him twice last year, and we obviously get on very well, and I've got huge respect for him and the work that him and Dean Smith have done there with Aston Villa. So I think it's more about John and probably the reception he'll quite rightly get from the Chelsea fans. He was a nice decorated captain. Greatest captain, won everything, fills the club. Everybody knows that. The fans will certainly show their appreciation. I'm sure it will be pretty emotional for John, and he deserves that moment. And I will certainly be pleased to see his face back at the Bridge.
Have you been in contact with him at all?
Yeah, but not in the last few days. I spoke to him last week, and we had a couple of conversations. We're pretty regularly in conversation, but we're obviously both focused on our jobs. He was working hard there, and to get results as are we here. So it will be nice to catch up.
And just one more from me, looking to January with the uncertainty over the transfer appeal, have you heard any more, and how are you planning for that?
I haven't heard any more, so I would wait and reserve judgment until we get the judgment and see where we want to go from there.
Do you know when that might be?
Very soon, I believe.
As in days?
Days, I think. Yeah.
Okay, any more? Nazar.
Frank, Marcos hasn't played for a month. I was just wondering what your sort of thinking was behind that and what his situation is at the moment.
Yeah, well, I've got a squad to select from, and I've got options in different positions, and that's just my choice. and that's what it is. And all the players, it's sometimes a difficult part of my job because I can only pick 11, I can only pick the subs, and I have to make those choices. It doesn't mean anyone's out of the picture ever. It's how you train here daily, how you perform where you play, and we need the squad. And in some periods, of course, players will maybe be disappointed they're not in it, but they must keep working.
In the Villa game, I mean in the last game, West Ham game, there wasn't any fouls made by Chelsea, but West Ham made several fouls, many fouls on Chelsea. Is that something you're concerned about? Sort of, you know, with you pressing so well in previous weeks?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a freak stat, but one that we shouldn't be proud of. And not that you want to commit fouls, but if you play with urgency and aggression, which you need to, it's hopefully well channeled, but at times it can cause fouls, and that's how we should be. So I think it kind of runs a little bit alongside the result that we got, and something I wouldn't be happy with.
Okay, last one, Liam.
Frank, I know you said Barkley's been ill, but have you seen a reaction from him in terms of the off-field issues, and do you think he has a role to play in the coming weeks?
Well, he's training, and he's been training well. That's never been a huge issue. It's just now he has to, as I said last week, keep that level, push that level, and compete for a place in the team or in the squad or whatever. That's up to Ross now.
Okay, quick one, Nick, and then we're gonna...
Frank, whoever plays up front, it's always difficult, I guess, for strikers when one guy like Tammy's done so well and guys have to take their chance quickly. Is there anything that the rest of the players can do to help them ease the burden, I guess, on whoever takes the mantle?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a collective. Every performance, every game in the Premier League, the competitive nature of it doesn't mean that one player can be the reason or not necessarily. But yeah, collectively there's responsibility, but there's also responsibility on players that come in the modern day. Slightly different in my day. The modern footballer and how squads are and how many games we play. Players have to be ready to come in at any point. I know that's not always easy. I know we're asking a lot, but that comes down to how you train and how you prepare.
Is it a challenge to keep three guys, focused as well? Because obviously, if the guy is playing as well as Tammy, obviously he's going to play more than everyone else. But is that one of the big challenges of a manager's job?
Yeah.
To keep everyone happy?
Yeah. Again, in the modern day, I'm not the only manager to have that situation, and you rely on your relationship you have. You rely on the professionalism of the players. So I keep saying that I've got absolutely no problem with that. People are training well, supporting the group, having a smile on their face, happy when we win, determined to help if we don't, whether they're starting or not. And those are the rules of modern football, yeah. But of course it's a challenge because everyone's a human, they want to play every week, so I have to be aware of that at the same time.
Okay, thank you. Cameras off, please.